Alright. Hey people, what's going on? So, last night, Sony dropped the God of War Laufey trailer during their State of Play. I don't know if this was a surprise to people. I don't know if people already knew for a while this would be a game, but it was a nice surprise for me as someone that is, I would say, a casual fan of the franchise. I've played all the original games on the PlayStation. God of War 3 on the PS3 was one of my favorite games of all time. I mean, it is one of my favorite games of all time. I've played the PSP games, I've played the modern games, God of War Ragnarok, Valhalla, all that stuff. So maybe in a bit more than casual, but they're the kind of games, I play them, I enjoy them. Maybe watch some videos detailing maybe the lore and the characters and stuff, but that's about it. I haven't really looked at any God of War content in or played any of the games in maybe a couple of years now, at least since Ragnarok came out on PC. Um, I did see the last State of Play when they announced the God of War remake trilogy remaster thing. Not entirely sure what they're gonna do with that, but I'm excited about that, and I'm excited hopefully about the idea of playing God of War 1 to 3 on maybe Steam. Really hoping they don't make it exclusive to PS5. I think they're just shooting themselves in the foot if they do that. I mean, the other God of War games, the newer ones, they're on Steam. So here's hoping. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to go through. I'm not really. This isn't a first time reaction. I have seen the trailer already. I just wanted to go through and sort of just click through the video and just highlight moments that I thought were interesting or things that told us more about the game, stuff like that. So first of all, right here at the start, we've got obviously timeline wise, it looks like we're going to be going back to the start of God of War 2018, where the first thing we see in that game is Kratos cutting down the tree, and then they go and bring Faye's body to the pyre and burn it. So it looks like this is exactly this moment from the first game. You got young Atreus here, right? Um, so Faye gets burned away. She goes to the afterlife. I really love what they did with this here. So it looks like, let me just go for it a little bit more. Yeah, it looks like, so this is our sort of main menu screen. I don't know if they're going to do this for the game or how much of this is being done just for this gameplay reveal trailer. I don't know if the actual start of the game is going to be like this, but we'll see. But I really think it's interesting. I love when they do this sort of mid cutscene main menu style where you go directly from the main menu. Yeah,
Kratos!
yeah, straight into the cutscene there, leading us from the start. Um, Something I'm not too sure about that they hinted at was this thing in her hand. Now I'm not sure if it's just me being stupid. Sorry, I don't know. I'm sure if this is me being stupid and forgetting something that happened in maybe God of War. I mean, I don't really know when we would have seen anything about this. We don't really get to see a whole lot of Faye in the first two games, particularly the first one. I say the first one, guys. I understand it's not the first God of War game, but in this style, when I say the first one, I'm going to be referring to God of War because Faye as a character is not relevant at all to the original trilogy. Just putting that across. I hope that's obvious. Sorry if it confuses anyone. Yeah, this sort of splinter in her hand, it seems to be the thing that's kind of gatekeeping her magic while she's here in this place. So I'm sure that'll get explained, but yeah, you guys can tell me if that's something I'm just forgetting about. Yeah, we see this cute little creature come out here. I'm sure we'll see more of this sort of wildlife, or maybe it's even something deeper as we explore. The first thing I wanted to look at, let me see if I can find exactly where it is as we're going through.
It's just.
Oh yeah, okay. So right there, they
They
showed it. They did show it off
It's
there.
just-
So normally, okay, perfect pause. So what did Faye just do there? What did she do? She jumped and then grabbed the wall. Okay, so in God of War, in the newer games, this is not a thing. You go to a wall like this, you would need to press your face up to the wall and press the context button, to climb the wall or to boost Atreus up so that he could send down a ladder or a rope or whatever it was. Faye can jump. It's a revelation, guys. We're adding jumping into it, and I know we're going to see a lot more of that going forward. But the fact that there's a dedicated jump button, this is already going to open up so many more potential possibilities for traversing the map, fighting in combat in general and just the way we explore the world, it's going to give them, the creators, I mean, so much more freedom to create spaces that we can really play with, to make secrets that are a lot more secret, because the secret isn't on a railroad that you will eventually find somewhere. You know, they could just make it so that you have to jump up a series of innocuous looking rocks or something to find secrets. Okay, so I really like this idea. It also is really showing, I think there was something over here. Oh, maybe it's not here. Where her face seems a lot lighter on her feet overall than Kratos, right? She, you know, even though she's very powerful, we know that, right? She's a giant, but you know, visually she's smaller than Kratos. She's quite tall, but she's, you know, slender. She's got a slim physique, and I think the way that she moves really showcases that. You know, she's not stomping around, and when she climbs up, it's very delicate, it's very graceful. So let's move on and look at a bit of the combat here, which, oh, I forgot to even mention this. I'll go to this clip right here. I think it shows it well. Oh, I'm getting baited by this. Oh, here we go. So people probably already know this, but this actor, Deborah Ann Wall, she is someone that most people, I think, know from Daredevil / Punisher. I don't know if she's in Punisher, actually. I know she's in Daredevil. I haven't seen either of those. I know Deborah Ann Wall from her role as Jessica in True Blood, which I think was one of her first breakout roles, really. She's also, if you guys don't know, she's big nerd, huge D&D fan. So I'm just really happy for her. I'm glad she's getting to do all these cool things that someone with her interest would probably be very interested in doing. You know, working in games, doing mocap, all that stuff. I think is really cool. And in a role like this, yeah, I think it rocks. Something I noticed on the first, so she gets the sword here. She picks up the sword, and I wanted to show this combo. Let me just slow it down for a second, because I don't know how many people notice this, but I need to point this out. Let's go to 0.5. Why not? So when you watch here, he's going to do 2 slashes with the right hand. Oh, I was wrong. I've gone too far. Here we go. Slash, slash. And now watch. See the sword here on the right hand? And she drops it. The sword is still in the air, and she spins around, catches it with the left overhand, and slashes down. Now, guys, this kind of detailing in combat animations is really exciting. I mean, this kind of flair at the very start of the game. Now, remember, in God of War 2018, you're playing as Kratos, and, you know, I love that game, but my goodness, the combat can be a slog at the start. You got your basic swing, swing, swing with the axe, right? There's not a whole lot going on. It's not very flashy, and that's something I think a lot of people were disappointed in, is that when you think about God of War 1, if people have played the first God of War game, the opening to that game, you're on a ship, and these soldiers come down, and you just start annihilating them. You've got a couple of combos already. You can do your air juggles. You can grab people, you can throw them, you can ram them in. There's so many options. The combat is immediately fast and flashy and cool, and you're just told, go have fun, go experiment. This is the vibe that I'm getting from what we're seeing here as well, because that first one, that 1-2 slash, like if we watch it in normal sort of speed here for a second. Yeah, so drop the sword. 1, 2, and the way it hovers, it's just beautiful, guys. This kind of animation is just absolutely beautiful. And of course, we're going to then see the transition here, where we've got a parry, okay. Like God of War, but it's kind of using her own magic as opposed to a shield, which, that's cool, but, you know, we've seen this before, it's fine. Parry, but the counterattack doesn't work yet. Okay, we're going to see this change later on, but this is just an interesting little bit of world building, letting us know, again, her magic is not working here. Something's wrong. Alright. We go in. Little dodge to the side. Quick dodge. And the follow-up with a kick, I'm not entirely sure if that's going to be a sort of context-based. Like, if you dodge an enemy at the right time, do you get the opportunity to kick them? Or can you just always kick them? If you look at the animation here.
Oh, come on.
It does seem connected. It does seem like the dodge into kick is a connected feature. So we dodge into kick. We slide forward and knock this guy up in like 1 frame. Like in this, I mean, from the ground to up there was no time at all. And this is another thing now that we're getting in this game that we didn't get in the newer God of War games is aerial combat. Another thing I know so many fans of the original games have been begging and hoping to see in the newer games is aerial combos. Slam them down, slice them back up. So much juggling. So I think juggling people in the air is going to be much more of a focus than it was in the first two games. A bit of a Devil May Cry sort of inspiration. It feels like there, where in Devil May Cry, if people don't know, you're incentivized to keep people juggled, as opposed to it being this sort of back and forth. It's really about you dominating your opponents, right? It's you knock them into the air, you slash them while they're in the air. You saw that she dodges the guy, kicks him back. He can't react while he's being kicked back. She slides in real fast, knocks him into the air. The opponent has no chance to react. She's slicing him up in the air, slams him down. All of this is just you just showing off. The only thing they're missing there is a style meter. I'm just gonna be real. They're just missing a style meter.
Shouldn't have been that difficult.
I think there's these sort of plant enemies. Not really sure what's going on with them. Yeah, I mean, just look at that. I mean, okay, so yeah, there's the perfect example, right? Perfect example. This enemy, he tries to come at you. You hit him first with a lunging thrust into the, and so you see the way that works. It is almost like Devil May Cry, because it looks like she stabs and goes to stab again. It looks like she goes to stab him twice, but if you hold down the button, you will in fact then launch instead. So if you look, it looks like stab. Oh no, I'm gonna slice up. And now that he's in the air, he's gonna do this full like 8-move combo or something, and he's dead. He's dead in the air. So I do think this pace is going to be a lot faster in combat. Yeah, so again, another one of these creatures, and it kind of seems to be helping Faye. So whether this is a creature that exists here already, or it's something that maybe Faye is seeing, or some kind of spirit that has come to help Faye in this situation, maybe it knows she's in some kind of danger. Yeah, so she's gonna grab the armor. Of course, you know, being who she is, the armor looks dope as fuck when she puts it on. You know, you got the cool sort of one arm is armored, the other arm is free, because this is her parrying arm, this is her sword arm.
How about a way out?
So, you know, I know it's a bit convenient, but I think it's cool. You know, it gives the impression that this is old armor that's been lying around a while also serving the purpose of defining, you know, her sword arm and her magic arm, essentially. You know, I'm sure they're not going to call it her magic arm, but it's the arm her magic is channeled through, at least. So we go on here. She goes through this place. We see, oh yeah, this bit as well I saw. So hopefully we're going to have less of these sort of slow traversal moments, and she just slides on through there in no time at all. So hopefully with other things, you know, when you have to shimmy across a ledge or through a little gap and it takes 15 seconds and you're just pressing forward the whole time, hopefully they're going to calm down on those as well. So we get through, we see this thing. We're going to find out later that this is a gateway of some kind. So
guess I'll find my own way from here.
Maybe it's a gateway between the world of the living and the world of the dead, or maybe even more likely it's between sort of this purgatory and the world of the dead, where you come here when you die and the idea is that you move on to the next place, but when the gateway's closed people can't move on. Just a theory, just sort of spitballing here, see what happens. And again, as we expect from God of War, beautiful graphics, beautiful environment. I mean, look at
it's not possible.
The lush greenery. I mean, even the way Faye looks is absolutely
If there's another mask, our
beautiful.
path isn't safe. I have to find a way back.
Yeah, she's talking about these masks. Yeah, she found a mask on one of the dead guys before, and then it crumbled away. I'm not entirely sure, but hang on. Let's go forward real quick. I think they might bring it up, yeah.
You can't keep me here.
The gateway is closed. There is no escape.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, so the gateway is closed. There is no escape. So that makes me think that what I said before might be true, where this is we're in a sort of purgatory world right now, and this gateway is normally what would allow people to pass on to the next, you know, to the real afterlife, right? Whatever afterlife you're a part of. Because if we assume that this place is sort of a conglomeration of any area, any mythology that you're from can end up in this place, right? We've got Mongolian, Fae be Norse. We've got the what I assume to be an Egyptian god, but might not be, so don't quote me on that. But even at the very least, with two mixes here, we can assume that this place is kind of a meeting place or purgatory, where then you go through the gateway and you go off to then what is your place's version of sort of heaven or whatever, right? I can't remember what it was called in the Norse games. But like they had a version of heaven. It's the same in all of them, right? It's like Christianity is heaven. The Greeks had their own version. The Nords had their own version. I'm sure the Mongolian, Egyptian, they all have their own versions of what sort of heaven is in their mythology. So maybe it's a case of you all come here together, but then when you go through the gate, you go to your own place, right? You go and you meet up with your ancestors or whatever it is, right? But because this gate is closed for some reason, it doesn't seem like they're the ones that closed the gate, right? Even though this guy's clearly like a villain, but it doesn't seem like they've done this on purpose. He says the gate is closed, and shall I show you how hard it is to die here? So I'm thinking maybe these people are also trying to find a way to open the gate so that people can like pass on, right? Maybe it's a huge red herring, and they just, there's an instant distrust here for obvious reasons, but maybe it's not actually warranted.
Resisting the truth will only make this more painful.
Yeah, and again, so what she says, they're resisting the truth, right? So it could be a case, so it could go either way, right? It could be the classic case of the villain thinks they're right, and they're gonna give the truth to the hero, but the hero is going to show them the real truth, right? So it could be like that. I mean, you can do that well, but it's kind of generic. But it could also be the case that these guys have been here. Maybe they've been stuck here for eons, right? Years and years and years and years, and they're tired of it. They just want to move on. So now they've resorted to some seriously bad things, whatever bad things could mean in this sort of afterlife. They've resorted to maybe tearing down the walls between areas and stuff like that, and causing all sorts of chaos in the real world or in the afterlife to get themselves to be able to move on to the afterlife as well. And it is a case of they were good at one point, and now they've just they don't trust anyone else that comes in that's new that could interrupt their plans, right? That's why they just throw people in cages, because they don't know what they might do. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm sure we'll get more information on that before the game even comes out, really. So here's interesting, like, very curious. We've got a huge, what do you call it, like an observatory here? Massive telescope.
Sekhmet.
No.
Sekhmet. Wait, Sekhmet. Now, was
I
he...
will handle that problem.
Hang on.
I will.
Sekhmet.
No.
Sekhmet is... I'm almost certain that is the name of an Egyptian god. I don't know if he is saying Sekhmet is the one in the observatory. I think he must be, because she says no.
Begtsi.
And then she says Begtsi. I don't know who or what Begtsi is. It doesn't remind me of any of the Egyptian gods. So maybe this is another god from a different pantheon. Maybe it's from another Mongolian one, or maybe it's an entirely different pantheon. And this whole idea, I think, is really, really smart by them. Because over time, people have always gone, "Ooh, what's going to be the next pantheon? Is Kratos going to go and..." Oh my god, give me 2 seconds, sorry. Sorry, fellas, the old ball and chain called me, am I right? Oh, no, I'm absolutely joking. I love my wife to death. It's just... We're not fans of that here. All right, let's keep going here. So what was I saying? Oh, the whole pantheon thing, right? People would always say, "Oh, should Kratos go and kill the Egyptian pantheon, or should he go and kill, I don't know, the Roman pantheon, or should he go and kill the Japanese?" So all these things. So I think what they've done here is they've kind of realized, well, it's hard to pick one, or it's hard to justify why Kratos keeps sort of jumping from place to place, killing all the gods. Right? It's getting a bit tired at this point, isn't it? So maybe the idea is we have this place where, because like all the pantheons can come together, it will allow them to basically put any god from any pantheon they want into a situation, right? Maybe it needs to make a little bit of sense for who they are, right? But ultimately, I think it allows for this. It's going to be a really fun sort of mishmash of different pantheons, different gods, and different vibes and looks and aesthetics. And maybe the areas that we travel to will sort of be representative of that. Maybe there'll be places that have more Egyptian-inspired architecture, or that have more Mongolian-inspired architecture. That kind of thing. So I think it's going to allow them a lot of freedom. So I think combining that with the heightened traversal that will probably be in this game, I think it's going to make for a really fun time to explore. Yeah, Begsy, no
I
idea.
will handle that problem. You deal with our new pet.
And it's interesting because obviously these guys, they seem like, I guess they're in love. I mean, I don't know what else you'd call it, but it seems like they're in love. But obviously, if what I'm saying is right, they're from different worlds, right? In entirely different worlds. So the only time they could have met really would be here in this afterlife. So, kind of a curious thought. Oh yeah, now this is cool. Is this no, I'm wondering, is this the God of War reimagining of a Sphinx? Right? Well, we know the Sphinx is, sort of these giant cats that had the symbolism of the sort of pharaohs. They wore the masks, right? The headgear and stuff. But what if underneath it was actually this hairless lion looking thing that was actually quite nasty looking? I think it's quite interesting. Do you know, once again, this guy absolutely manhandling Laufey. She has no chance right now. The magic's still not working, so it worked that one time because she was really, really sort of agitated. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't work again now, but maybe it's a limited resource. We'll see, right? Okay, so now moving on. Here we go to our
Okay.
supporting characters,
I
right?
think they're gone.
And I think there's something that's.
Just be careful.
This is one of those things that has the potential to be a bit of a vibe killer, right? The classic sort of quirky, witty, sort of fast-talking sidekick type character. I guess we'll see how they do. Now, granted, it is a gelatinous cube. So, the gelatinous cube and the talking ribbons definitely have more of a reason to be kind of quirky and weird because, well, that's weird, right? Like, these are weird. To us, anyway, these are weird.
Fresh air. Oh, you're different.
Anyone that didn't know, by the way, is the voice of Frank the Cube here is Jack Quaid, of recent The Boys fame. And as much as I was not a fan of the last season of The Boys, I've enjoyed Jack Quaid's performance the whole way through. And again, I'm glad to see him in something that I'm going to be enjoying no matter what. Well, enjoying no matter what is not necessarily true. I'll be playing it for sure. I'll probably enjoy it, right? Based on what I've seen, it looks like it's going to play like the God of War games, but a bit faster and a bit more free-flowing. The ability to jump in combat and slide in combat and do aerial combos and all that stuff. It just hits, right? Like, it just hits.
Talking. You know what? It doesn't matter. How do we get out of here?
Yeah, I like that she says, you're a cube talking. You know what? Doesn't matter. We don't have to do the whole, well, yes, I'm this cube from here, and this is how I became a cube, and isn't that weird, blah, blah, blah. No, it's just, you know what? Whatever, right? We see weird shit. We just saw the big cat thing jump down, and then the Egyptian god jumped on it and flew away. And then the Egyptian god's Mongolian boyfriend threw us into, like, there's weird stuff going on here, right? So I think questioning why the cube and ribbons can talk, it doesn't matter, right?
Tried. There's no way out.
I'm really sorry, but I'm not sure who actually plays the ribbons here. I don't recognize the voice. It's a New Zealand accent, I believe, not Australian.
And you're a talking sword.
I'm not the sword. I'm the ribbons, obviously. And my
Yeah,
name is
that's a
Ru-
New Zealand accent, right? So
The cube
that's a
is
Kiwi
Frank.
accent. Yeah, we have Frank, so I think that was another funny thing people pointed out is now we have Deborah Ann Wall playing a character, and her co-star is a character called Frank. Anyway, just a
I'm
fun little
Faye.
tidbit.
There has to be a way out of here.
A way out, but you're not even all here.
Interesting comment there from him again. You're not even all here. So what are we implying here? What part of Faye is missing? Right? So like she gets burned on the pyre. Her spirit, we assume sort of her spirit or something or whatever, you know, comes here. But so what is he talking about? And how does he know that? He can just automatically tell something's missing. So a lot more to dive into with Frank the Cube.
Of course I'm not here. I'm dead.
You have to be dead to come through the gateway.
Yeah, so she thinks they mean, oh, you're not all here because, you know, you're dead, so part of you is, you know, it's still out there. But they know that. They're like, well, yeah, of course you're dead. You'd have to be dead to come through the gateway.
It's like you're holding something back.
This isn't working.
Yeah, just a lot of sort of interesting things they're saying there, sort of. I wish it wasn't all just sort of spammed out that quickly. You're not even here, you know, it's like you're holding up, but it's all very quick. You know, maybe give Faye a chance to sort of think for herself and kind of come to the realization that, oh, I need to focus up here for a second. I need to lock in, right? Walrus creature of some kind, I don't know what that is.
Where are we anyway?
Afterlife of the gods? I call it the everyone.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Afterlife.
So there we go. So, okay, Afterlife of the gods, right? And so you might think, well, which afterlife, right?
The
Which
gods.
gods? But the Frank, the Cube, calls it the everywhen. Assumption here, right, is that it's everywhere and everywhen, right? So it's the afterlife of the gods from everywhere and from any time period. So if you're a god at all, if you were ever a god and you die, you come here. At least initially, right? Maybe this isn't where they stay. I actually am betting it's not where they stay, but it definitely seems to be a thing that no matter what kind of god you were, or, you know, what pantheon you're from, or what timeline you're from, you will come here when you die. At least temporarily.
Great.
So,
I'm surprised Faye can't break out of this. It does seem like, you know, physical. Like she's clearly strong enough, but, you know, like, again, if we sort of imagine Kratos in this situation, like he's breaking out of this in no time at all, right? Absolutely no time. He's not being held back by some bones and some ropes. But Faye here she's not shown to be of superhuman strength, even though she was a giant, and that definitely lends her to having more strength. It doesn't seem like she is this sort of superhero in the way that Kratos was, right?
What's the plan, boss?
Which should help to add a level of sort of vulnerability to her, because now, you know, in cutscenes and stuff, when people are threatening Kratos and stuff, and you just kind of think, dude, what are you doing? You can't threaten Kratos. He's invincible. He's like Superman at this point, right? He is unstoppable. So I like the idea that we're going to be playing as Faye, and she's going to feel much more vulnerable. She's going to feel like she can actually be put in danger, you know, in a 1v1 situation with someone, right? So I like that.
Not your boss, Frank.
Not your boss, Frank. Yeah, I like that. I think people were hinting that could be also a little nod to Punisher. You know, maybe even if it's just for this trailer. You know, it's not really like a line that they're going to use in the game. Again, I haven't watched it, so I wouldn't know. Maybe I'm talking out my ass, but yeah, I also like that line because it's kind of this. You know, I think, you know, elephant in the room here. There's definitely going to be people. I've already seen it, actually. I don't even need to imagine. I've already seen people talking about, you know, woke of war, god of woman. You know, okay, just shut the fuck up, right? Just shut up. This whole thing looks great. If this was Kratos doing exactly the same shit, you. Well, I mean, I guess that's not true because people would go, oh, how does Kratos get punched in the face and thrown in? You know, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I like this because we're using Faye, and we're going to take advantage of and use the fact that she is not Kratos, right? She is nicer. She's much nicer than Kratos. She's willing to help people she doesn't know. She's willing to talk and communicate to people she doesn't know. She's not insanely strong. She's not going to solve all of her problems by punching through them, right? With violence. Like she can do it if she needs to, and it'll probably be like as a last resort for the most part. But yeah, she's not just instantly going to solve everything by slicing them with her sword or punching them in the face, which I like. Also this thing here of like, I think that's almost her saying, him saying, "What's the plan, boss?" It's kind of a jokey thing because maybe Frank has kind of realized that Faye is slightly more important, or maybe he just assumes that because of her being a, bipedal human-like, that he's automatically just going to follow her. And she's like, no, that's just not how this works, right? I'm not automatically your leader
Not your
through
boss,
virtue,
Frank.
right? She just sees them as equal, right? It's a jelly cube. It's a cube of jelly, guys. But she doesn't see herself as any better. She doesn't think of herself as any better than him. She just, we're just two people, two life forms trapped. Okay, I guess three with the ribbons just trapped here, right?
That cask. That's why you're trapped.
Yeah. Wait, you made that big explosion happen, right? Could you do that again?
My magic, it's wrong here. I feel wrong here.
You want out, right?
I think we all want that.
We definitely do.
Faye, you need to accept it. All of it. You're dead.
How? How do I accept that?
Simple. Focus. You're here. Be here.
Oh, okay. So it looks like we're going with... So, I mean, my assumption here was that Faye was fully aware that she was dead, but I guess that's not the case. So Faye didn't have, like... She mustn't have had, like, any kind of peaceful death, right? Or, like, she didn't know she was going to die. Maybe she did, because she had that sort of... She had some kind of ability, sort of premonition of some kind. So maybe she knew she was going to die soon. But here, it seems like she wasn't really aware fully, even though she said before, like, I'm dead. It's like she's dead, but she's not accepting of the fact that she's dead. Like, she's trying to... It's like she's trying to escape back to the real world, or, the world of the living, instead of moving on to the world of the dead like she should be. And that's what's keeping her magic locked in. Is that her magic will only work if she fully accepts and understands that, okay, I'm dead, but something's still not right.
But what if I need to be somewhere else?
Then focus on what you do need.
Find your way home.
Hey, that's it. What were you thinking of?
A promise.
Okay, we'll take it. Now let's get out of here.
So one thing I think it's cool with Kratos saying, find your way back home, and we know that throughout God of War and God of War Ragnarok, that Faye will sort of pop up in Kratos' dreams. And toward the end of Ragnarok, I mean, we were basically getting full-on mental projections where it seemed like Faye was forcing her way into Kratos' mind and could straight up just talk and interact with him on her own terms. So I do wonder if over the course of this game we will see those interactions from Faye's point of view, or kind of see what it took for her to go and like project herself the way she did so that she could help Kratos. Because we also know that Faye is the one that set up all the markings everywhere along their journey. It's kind of the in-universe excuse for the yellow paint, right? Is that Faye marked their journey so they would know where to go and what direction to go. But how did she do that if she didn't, she would have had to know where they were going to go before they went. I'm guessing that's something Faye must have done before she died. But again, that idea that she knows what they're going to do before they do it kind of thing could tie in.
Okay. Get ready.
Wait! Not a good idea. Bad idea.
Of course, we're using, this is essentially a cut, right? They do this crazy, up-close, shaky cam thing where the environment is going wild, you have no idea what's going on, and so that they can have it so that when Faye wakes up, the environment around her can be completely different, but without them having to show the environment changing.
Kratos.
Cool moment with Kratos. We hear the little, the leitmotif of the newer games. The don don don. I'm sure we'll get more of that, right? I'm sure this is not going to be a game where we don't see Kratos a decent amount. And I think it'll be interesting, again, seeing Kratos from an outside perspective, you know, seeing Kratos from Faye's point of view and what Faye thought, because I think because we're playing as Faye, we're going to get a lot more in-depth with how she feels and thinks about things, because she actually speaks. Not that Kratos didn't speak, right? But Kratos was a man of few words, right? He pretty much only spoke when he needed to, and it was really sort of Ragnarok and toward the second half and end of Ragnarok where he really started to actually loosen up and be able to fully start communicating properly with his son, and really accepting of Faye and her past and everything there, and really become the kind of person that you could consider, you know, an actual hero, like a real hero, not an anti-hero, as he has so long been called, and kind of was. You know, those original games, he destroyed the world in the quest of revenge. Yeah, the gods were terrible, but did billions of people need to die for Kratos' revenge? I don't think so, right? So, it'll be interesting. Just another little bit of Faye being light on her feet. I just want to mention again, I just need to throw that out. Like, the motion capture technology, you know, the visually, it looks incredible. That is just Deborah Ann Woll, the actress. That is just her in real life plopped into this scene in this game. It is staggering, the things that people have been doing recently on motion capture. Again, Faye, you know, she's ready to fight, fists up. You know, she has no weapon, but she's going to fight you. So for people that are concerned, they're like, oh, well, it's Faye. You know, she's not as like cool, or like, you know, she's obviously, she's probably not going to be as brutal as Kratos, but she is not she's no pussy, right? She's not gonna just, oh, I don't have a weapon. No, she's going to fight, right? She's gonna fight you until she's dead again. She does not care, and I love it. I think it's great. Okay,
I think you should give her the sword.
Okay, so Rue is the ribbons. It's Rue.
How do I know I can trust her?
I'll give it back. I promise.
I mean, girl, she just freed you. It's probably the most trust you can give to anyone.
Okay. Take it.
I'm guessing Frank here doesn't really feel pain. I mean, he just have a sword pulled out of him and not a peep. So I'm not pretty sure if he can even feel pain. You know, maybe that's why they put the sword in him for safekeeping, because it would be fine. Now we're gonna get a more extended look at combat. So we've got a Doctor Strange, you know, soul punch thing here, but it kind of goes in reverse, where she punches. So in you know, with Doctor Strange, he would hit you and your soul would go flying out the back of your body. But here it's reversed, where the soul stays in place, and the body goes out, right? So if you guys have played maybe League of Legends, if you know a Laufey, one of her spells is where you take the soul out of the person and then you beat the shit out of the soul and it hurts them. So that's what she's doing here, right? She's knocking the person away, leaving the soul here, and then she's going to sort of kill the soul, and that's gonna kill the guy. Also, that set off a huge explosion in the background when she knocked it away. And she knocks into these guys and it detonates and kind of slams them all away. Now we got the ribbons. Okay, that's sort of our... So, the ribbons are gonna act like our blades of chaos, I guess, right? They got a wide range and the ability to hit multiple targets at once. Great for crowd control and stuff. Then I imagine the sword is what you're going to use when you're in that 1v1 and you're just trying to get people out quickly.
Lady, you need to get out of here.
Not until I get you out.
I don't need help. Here we go, coming up behind.
Once again, her insisting that she's going to help this guy who has now even told her he doesn't need help. Again, she doesn't know who this guy is or why he's locked up, but she's her. She just is her. That's it. Okay, we got some, you know, funny cube stuff going on. It does look like this is maybe, you know, this is Faye's version of Atreus, right? So maybe you'll be able to later on sort of command Frank around and tell him who to attack or stuff like that. And you know, it looks like the enemies are aggroing onto him and keeping him busy. It looks like he even just knocked one of them up in the background. there we've got the same red indicator when someone can be executed, but whereas Kratos would have to sort of run up and do it, you see that Faye gets the knockback from range and is able to use the ribbons to extend and pull her into him, or pull him into her, sorry, and deliver a absolutely sick execution. By the way, kick the head off, slice the body, pull the armor, just disintegrate that guy. I love the design of these guys, the way their body, it's like Rayman, right? Their bodies are kind of separated. And so when you see this guy here, right, his arms, you'll see his head won't move, but his arms are going to spin around and swing the sword. You see that? I think that's cool, right? It means that it might be a little harder to read these guys if you can't see their whole body turning one direction and it's just the sword kind of swinging at you. Now, granted, these look like the kind of basic fodder enemies, so I'm sure that won't be a huge thing. But I think it'd be cool if we had a boss that worked similarly to this, where it was harder to read their inputs because their body parts move independently of each other. Again, huge, big aerial combo with a finishing slam move. A bit of a backstep hit there, like you've seen in Gargoyle games. Another aerial combo into an aerial finisher, which seems to keep her in the air afterwards, and she's able to slam down on a different target. Here we got the soul hit again. Yeah, knocks him into that guy, blows him up.
Got an idea on opening that cage.
Frank in the background.
Get ready! Come on!
No, I got a promise to keep.
Fine, but lady, that sword, it's more than you think it is.
I gotta say, I love this spell. Now this again is kind of like a way for them to cheat cut, but it also shows. Now he grabs her, right, he's pushing her into the ground and running forward, right? He's like sliding her into the ground, but it goes so far that she is under the ground here, right? Like that's why it's so dark. Like she is under the earth at this point. That's how deep he has pushed her into the ground. But they use this as a clever way to cut to the sort of next arena if they want to change how it looks a little bit, or change the area that you're in without having to actually cut away.
I will kill you.
Again, cool move here. You know, she gets out of his grasp not by just punching him really hard in the face or something. She blocks, bounces off the wall, bounces off him, lands. Super agile, super nimble. It fits the character design of the character really well. Okay, so here again, so she says, "I'll kill you," and he says, "Don't make promises you can't keep." He wants to die. These guys want to die. They want to open that gateway and go through and die properly. And maybe they're concerned that other people are here to stop that happening, right? Maybe someone else has been sending people to stop them for so long, and now anyone that they don't know, they immediately are just, they're distrustful, right? And they just lock them up, keep them away, don't let them stop us. So I think I could be completely wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I'm gonna say it now. I think this is a red herring. I think that these two being the big bad guys of the game is just not true. I don't believe it. This guy's absolutely sick though. Like this weapon, it's very what's it called? I forget what it's called now, but in God, I'm going back a few years now. Mortal Kombat X, I think that's almost a 10-year-old game now, but Mortal Kombat X, they had a character called Kotal Khan, who, while not Mongolian, I think he was more Aztec inspired. Quite similar, I must say now, looking, design-wise. But Kotal Khan had a weapon like this, right, where it's basically just a big hunk of wood with, like, shark teeth all around the edges, and that's what created the sharpness of it, right? Whereas that's kind of, it doesn't even, this doesn't look like something that was necessarily forged. It looks like something that was made by hand, each individual groove and stuff just sort of chopped into it.
Try again!
Faye, focus!
Fire! I will wrench you thread by thread!
Yeah, again, so I mean the boss even aggroing. Oh, doesn't look like he aggroed Frank. Frank definitely. Oh, okay, hang on, what was that? It's a little dodge where she phases through the hit entirely. Yeah, she kind of, maybe there's like a perfect dodge type thing. A double team from Frank, that's cool, adding a bit of extra stagger on.
You're scared of this sword. Why?
I fear nothing!
Again, something interesting again to think about. You know, she says, I fear... Oh, epic pose with her jumping in the air like that. But she says, you fear this sword. Why? He says, I fear nothing. Now, you know, a guy like him is obviously going to say, I fear nothing, right? I mean, that's kind of what you expect. But why would he fear this sword? What relation does it have to their goals that would make him scared of it? Does this sword have the potential to open the gate? Or does it have the potential to close the gate forever, right? To seal it shut, essentially, stopping them. But if that was the case, I feel like they would have taken more care, because, I mean, you know, it was stuck in the cube and they had the cube locked up, so they would have taken more care to look after this. If they really thought it was some kind of world-ending weapon that was going to, like, destroy their plans. So, I'm not entirely sure what we're doing here. Okay, there we go. So, we got he goes for a grab. He's going for a grab. She jumps, and we got an air dash, right? So now we've got, like, manual jumping. I know it sounds crazy. We've got manual jumping and air dashing. And air combos. The combat in this game should open up significantly compared to the first two God of War games. In terms of gameplay, this could be the sort of magnum opus of the current Santa Monica Studios, right? The current God of War games. Obviously, it's impossible to compare the new God of War to the original God of War because they're different genres. They just are, right? These games are, you know, they're both action games, right? They're both in the action category, but one is a fixed camera angle hack and slash with, you know, loads and loads of enemies on the screen almost all the time, and the whole point is you go in, you just mess them up, right? You just demolish them, and it's satisfying because you're killing 20, 30 guys in 10 seconds, right? You're doing a lot of weapon switching, and stuff like dodging and blocking. While it was there and did have its uses, it wasn't as much of a focus, right? For the most part in God of War games, you can kind of just spam your way through stuff unless you're on higher difficulties, and then things like dodging and parrying do become a bit more necessary. But even in, you know, God of War 2018 or God of War Ragnarok, even if you're playing on normal mode, for example, you probably still got a lot more mileage out of the dodge and parry than you do because of the inherent nature, the slower movement, the over the shoulder, the combat that's much more focused on the 1v1, right? Like, you do get multi-enemy fights, obviously, right? But I think these games shine when it's just you and maybe a couple of enemies on screen. I think generally people, you know, I think generally in these games it's not as fun to go up against a horde of 10 guys because they generally take a lot longer to kill, have much more intricate moves, and have much more ways to sort of stagger you or stop you mid-combo. So it can be kind of just frustrating in those situations. Whereas right here, like Faye against this boss, you know, and even, you know, when you think about all the best moments in God of War and God of War Ragnarok, what do you think of, right? You think of the bosses, right? The fights with Baldur, the fights with Thor, I mean, obviously there's the big set piece moments, but even like the dragon fight, right? Things like that, where it's just you and some either, it doesn't even have to be like a big enemy, just you and some enemy that is cool and intimidating and imposing and on your level, right? The 1v1. I think these are the moments when the combat and gameplay really are allowed to shine in terms of mechanics. And while it can be cool to do, you know, a bunch of, and even in the 1v1, things like weapon switching and using different abilities on different weapons in succession and chaining them together in cool ways, like, that's always the most fun part. And it's, you know, when you come up against multiple enemies, a lot of the time you go in, you do some big move, your big AoE move, and they kind of just all die. Or, you know, you just like spam one move over and over and they all die because it's not worth trying to intricately 1v1 each enemy, you know, in a cool way. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how the combat sort of evolves in this game. There we go again. That's my favorite thing. I gotta point that out. When Faye does the old 1-2 and she swaps the hand. Love that. There you go. Parry into cutscene. Yeah, I mean the colors on the ribbons are great. I love how just absolutely luminescent they are when you're whipping them around. I mean, it's just beautiful, the sort of pink and purple. I mean, all the colors here. The fire of this area combined with the really dark ashiness of everything else, the red in the wood, and then the purple of the other fire that's come out. You know, it contrasts so well. This guy pulls off a, you know, Radan moment, comes in, comet from the sky. That's pretty cool. I like this one here.
Don't give up.
Faye says, I don't give up, but it isn't just, she didn't just say that for no reason. This guy told her to give up, and she said, no. You know, I feel like a lot of games would just have your character kind of just occasionally say, like, I won't give up. And it's like, yeah, I know. I'm playing. I don't plan on giving up. But I think when you have, if you know, when a character in a game says to you, ha, you're going to lose, you as the player are more likely to go, I'm not going to lose. Fuck you. I'm going to win. So, you know, I think that really helps. Just a little bit of feeling like us, the player, and Faye, the character, are a bit more connected. Here we go. And it does seem like this is a very, you know, preliminary fight. Like, Faye's literally slashing this guy in the face with her sword. He's kind of just eating it, right? Like, you do the finisher, and normally as soon as you hit a finisher, you're in cutscene mode, right? So any damage you deal is official, right? It's real, it's canon when you're in cutscene mode, right? That's what we're doing here. She's slashing him on the face, right? He just kind of tanks it. Goes in so fast, right? Like, he uses the fire to, like, propel himself forward, like an explosion, right? Bakugo from My Hero Academia, Bakugo from My Hero Academia, just using the explosions to launch himself forward. Super cool. The moment here, we're going to use all this epic destruction stuff to move to a new arena. Again, so, you know, Faye's not, like, hyper strong the way Kratos is, but she clearly is very durable. And now, obviously, we've been told here that they can't die, essentially. But that, you know, does that mean that you couldn't, for example, just, like, break someone's bones, right? And have them just be useless, but they can't die, right? But you can, like, just break their body. So that would imply here that Faye is at least, you know, a lot more durable. Or maybe, you know, as durable as Kratos. Maybe not as durable, because we saw that Kratos can literally heal himself with his god powers. But maybe she just has a very high natural level. Ooh, nice stab. This goes for the arm break. Yeah. Oh, got him in the arm bar. Try to break it. Couldn't quite get through the ribbons. Nice little finish with a slash across the chest here. Again, yeah, I'm a big fan of this title. I love this sort of cosmic purple sort of thing going on with the sort of rune markings sort of interwoven inside it. I think it matches the ribbons as well. You know, I think I really like this focus on the red, like the red of the fire and the purple of, I guess, Faye in general. I mean, we're going to use purple as kind of like Faye's color. Oh.
Hi, I'm Corey Barlog, head of creative at Santa Monica Studios.
I didn't see this.
Thank you for watching this extended look at the next core game in the series, God of War Laufey.
I like how they say the next core game in the series, right? They're letting us know this is not a spin-off, right? This is no God of War Ascension, right? This is, like, if you're going to call God of War Ragnarok God of War 5, right? This is God of War 6. Like, I kind of like that they're really just letting us know now, like, don't get it twisted. This is the next game in the series, right?
You know, telling Faye's story has kind of been a goal of mine since we started working on the Norse saga. She is very near and dear to me as a character, so I knew that we needed the right person to see this one through.
Yeah, that's right, because I think Corey, I'm trying to remember. I know he was the director, I want to say, of the first game. Let me just... Let's just look. Let's just see which ones he did. God of War 1, 2, Chains of Olympus 3, Ghost of Sparta. Oh, okay. So, wait. Oh, okay, no. He was an animator on God of War 1. Then he was the director and story writer for God of War 2. So initial design, story, layout for God of War 3. Right. So I do believe at some point, yeah, there was like a gap where he wanted to take a break because he had family commitments and stuff like that. I believe he has a young daughter. And I'm imagining that a lot of the inspiration for him wanting to do, to use Faye like this has come from his daughter.
I would like to introduce Laufey's game director, Ariel Lawrence.
Oh, so this is the new game director for this one. Okay.
Whom I've had the pleasure of working with for more than 20 years. Man, there is nobody that I trust more to bring this story to life than her.
Well, thanks, Corey. Hi, I'm Ariel, and I'm honored to represent...
And guys, I swear to God, if people leave comments, it's being made by a woman, who cares? I don't want to hear that shit. Who cares? Like Corey just said it himself, she has worked with him for 20 years. I think she's probably good at her job. If he has chosen her, like God of War at this point is Corey's baby. This is like his pride and joy, right? His thing. And if he is, we assume that he wants to take a break and he has to pick a successor. He is not going to give it to someone because of what they are or even necessarily who they are. He's going to give it to them based on whether or not he thinks they can do a good fucking job, right?
The entire Santa Monica studio team. We hope this small slice of game we've shown you today has given you a good introduction to what it's like to be Faye and the kind of trouble she finds herself in the afterlife of the gods. The team is still very hard at work creating this new adventure with Faye as she fights through the Everywind to save the ones she loves. You can expect us to be back with even more details as we get closer to release. We're super excited and cannot wait to show you more of the magic and danger that awaits Faye. Until then, thanks again for watching. Bye.
Okay, so they just did that just to introduce Ariel as the game director. Okay, cool. Overall, guys, I am personally very excited. What's this? Oh, okay. I am personally very excited about this, as well as the God of War original trilogy remaster. So I think for the next few years, us God of War fans are gonna be eating good. I'm just gonna say, I think it's looking pretty good for the future of the God of War franchise. And I must say, the God of War games as a franchise, I kind of want to say they haven't missed. But Ascension wasn't great. Like, it wasn't great. It wasn't the worst game ever, right? It's certainly not. It's certainly the worst game in the franchise, but it's not the worst game ever. And even like the PSP games kind of slap for what they are, right? Like if you've played games on the PSP, you know how much lower quality they generally are from their sort of console counterparts. But the God of War games kind of pulled it off, I must say. So yeah, these have just been my thoughts. Just I watched it and just these are all the things I kind of just noticed. I haven't really done any deep research into anything else, any story stuff, any character stuff, anything like that. Really, this is unscripted as well, right? You can probably tell. It's just off the top of my head. I just wanted to talk about it, and it's something I want to do this YouTube thing a little bit more, but it's kind of hard to know where to start, or I think if you decide, oh, I'm gonna do this, and then you get around to it, and you're like, I'm not really feeling that. I think it's easier to just start off. I'm just gonna talk about things that I like, that interest me. It's just easier, more casual. I think it's easier for people to listen to. I hope I'm not too rambly. I don't think I was that rambly. I hope that I just kind of gave reasons for why I like certain things or why I was being a bit cautious about other things, whatever it was. But overall, I'm very excited for this to come out. And again, so happy for Deborah Anwal to be able to be in something like this. I mean, she is a bit of a rising star, and I think this is going to be probably the thing that puts her on the map for most people. Like, I don't know what the numbers are like for Daredevil, right? So I don't know if they have millions of viewers or whatever, right? And maybe they do. But the God of War games, they will sell millions of copies. That's a fact, right? They will. So, right, because these are like, the God of War games have been console sellers for them, right? And so I don't think this is this is going to be a PS5 game. It's not going to be a console seller or anything like that. But it definitely will be, an event, right? It's going to be another big event game that comes out, and everyone's eyes are going to be on it. You're going to see every streamer that that plays games are going to be streaming it and whatever. So I'm just excited to hear more about it. Hopefully we don't have to wait for ever. You know, I hate when they announce games and then they tell you, oh, it's coming out summer 2028, and I'm like, so why did you even tell us? You know, don't be Elder Scrolls 6, right? Don't be GTA 6, right? Just tell us when it's almost ready, and then release it. That's it. You know, the early thing. You know, let us know that it's a thing. This gameplay reveal has been great. I think it's given people a lot to sort of chew on. I'm glad it wasn't just a 3-minute thing showing Faye, you know, opening her. You know, you can imagine that there's a version of the trailer where they show all this, right? And then it goes like this. And then we cut to black, right? And that's all they show. There is a world where that exists. I am so glad we're not living in that world. But yeah, so if you guys have any other thoughts, anything about what I said, or anything that I didn't mention that you want to mention, please let me know down below. I will read all the comments because I will probably get about 3. So yeah, if you watched the whole thing, great. I'm genuinely surprised and amazed. Thank you very much. Drop a sub if you want to see more random ass me talking about random shit. Probably in the TV, movie, game space, right? Generally, I might talk about some of the other state of play stuff, because I know that they revealed Until Dawn 2 with Neil Newman, who's also, you know, he's just one of the goats, to be honest, right? We all know Neil Newman's one of the goats of the gaming space. So yeah, I think that's everything. See you.